Welcome to the Newton le Willows FC podcast. Each episode we'll be bringing you news, reviews and previews and everything Newton le Willows FC. The boys, the girls, the men, the ladies, the kids, everyone. Are you a player? Are you a coach? Are you a fan? Come on and listen to this amazing episode. Hi and welcome to an all-new Newton le Willows podcast, the podcast for all your club news, previews, reviews and facts. For our first ever episode, I'm delighted to welcome club chairman Andy Tither and men's open age manager Dan Farell to the pod. Welcome, gents. How are you doing?
Oh, thanks for having us. I'm good, thank you. Really nervous.
Really nervous? No need to be nervous. There's some nervous energy about. But look, we've got a brand new podcast dedicated to the football club. Good?
It's good. I'll speak from a club perspective first. We've wanted to do this for a while and not known how. So thank you for sliding into our DMs and offering your services. It's something that we've been really conscious about our marketing, our communication methods and our appeal. And obviously we're going into a bit of a younger generation and there are more mediums to get it out there. So yeah, really excited about this. We've got a number of ideas in our head, and I'm looking forward to getting to hear from some of our players. Actually, not just me, but hear enough from me to get some of the players on.
Absolutely. Well, everybody's got to contribute, right? So it's got to be players, managers, and thankfully we've got one with us today. But yes, I think the fans have to come along and do their bit as well at times. Yeah. It's got to be done because we've got to share that workload. So, Dan, how are you feeling about the podcast coming to the club?
Yeah, I think it's pretty exciting. I'll just echo what Andy says in so much as it's always good to get, getting Newton out on a bigger platform, out to a wider audience. That's always an advantage, I think.
Absolutely. And I must admit, until I come down to the club 2 weeks ago, there was a meeting and a forum. I didn't realise how big the club was, just how many teams across age groups, how many people involved, the amount of volunteers, and to be fair, the amount of work that the managers have to go through as well. I really didn't realise, and I'm not going to big it up too much because Dan will get a big head and we'll never get him out and all that sort of stuff. But it's good that, people need to understand that, I think, and I hope that this will bring that format to everybody involved with the club.
I must admit, for the first time, I've not actually counted how many teams we've got this year, but we've been in and around the 40 teams mark, wow. Ranging from under sevens in our junior section up to and including under 18s in the junior section. And then we have two men's teams in the open age. So actually, you only have to be 16 to play open age, and we do have a few 16-year-olds. I'm pleased to say, and we have a ladies team as well. So yeah, circa 40 teams, around about 600 players, and I would say upwards of about 150 volunteers if you include team admins and coaches and trustees and various subcommittee roles. It's turned into a bit of a beast.
It sounds like it, and it takes organising, doesn't it? It doesn't just happen overnight, and I can imagine the WhatsApp groups going off and all that good stuff. But look, the club's got a great facility, but to host 40 teams, 600. I know different teams play at different places and all that, but we're very fortunate down at Newton, aren't we?
I just love it here on a Saturday and a Sunday when you bump into cricket and you bump into rugby league, you bump into rugby union, bump into tennis. And apologies if I've missed anyone out there, but I don't think that I have. And it just feels like it's a really good community, and the sections for me. I mean, I'm privileged as well that as part of my club chairman role that I am on the sports club kind of committee, and I get to go to the meetings, and we're working in harmony, and every section seems to be wanting to grow and push forward. So we are definitely stronger together, and it's absolute buzzing here on a Saturday. And it's a good vibe in the bar as well.
Absolutely, and I've been testament to some of those and walked out of here a bit worse for wear on a number of occasions, probably not as much as you boys, to be fair, but we've got the autumn coming up as well, so the rugby union will kick off. Being a Southern boy, I'm looking forward to that, but I know they endorse it here at the club, which is hard to find in the Northwest. Yeah, really hard to find, so it's a win-win for me as well. So, Andy, as part of your role, you've been associated with the club for how long?
I started when I was 7 years old, and I'm a little bit older than that now. I'm 39 recently.
Okay.
So I would say 32 years as a player. And then I became a referee, had to stop playing. I wasn't any good anyway, so it was no loss to the game. And then I became a coach. And then I became a committee member, as I wanted to get more involved in kind of shaping the kind of like pathway for junior footballers and coming into our adult section. And then we became a charity, so that effectively transferred us from being a committee member to a trustee. And then latterly, for the last 3 years, I've been chairman after Jeff stepped back, and my wife told me that I had to do it.
Fair play.
So yeah, it's been the club, really means an awful lot to me, and I think I really feel like this is a bit of a pivotal moment in kind of not just the club's history, but in terms of where it's heading. And this is the reason why I wanted to bring Mr. Farell with us, because from a senior point of view, I think it's fair to say that the football club has always had a good reputation of being a very, very well-established, well-oiled junior section. And we've also got an adults team that plays for us. Now, it's not been like that for a few years, but I've slowly but surely seen the culture of our football club change to really having that focus and that senior focal point. Those role models that are playing such wonderful football at the moment can only be a good thing for our juniors actually to add to that. So rather than it being a junior team with an adult section, we're one football club, but ultimately the goal of going through that junior pathway is to play for our adults team and for them to aspire to play for our adults team, because they're playing at a really good level.
How nice is that as well? Like, the lads come down in and around the club, they see the results, and Dan, to be fair, a great start to the season. You probably couldn't have gone any better, but we'll come on to that in a little while. How long have you been associated with the club?
So I started playing for Newton when I was about 19. So I originated from Manchester. I won't give you my life story, but I sort of split myself between Manchester and Newton. Moved to Newton when I was about 10, 11, and then I split my sort of teenage years across Manchester and Newton, just sort of parents and family and all that. And then it was pretty much as soon as I got a car and I had the ability to drive, I started playing for Newton. And then, probably 3 or 4 years after that, I had a bit of an injury. And then that was when I got introduced into coaching. Got asked by a chap called Dave Smith to help out with a junior team, which my younger brother played on. That was when they were under 9s, under 10s. And then, I alongside a couple of mates, like Big Ant and Hutchie and Woodsy and Co., then took that junior team right throughout to under 18s when they aged out. I sort of got back playing as well at the same time. And then probably about 6-7 years ago, I sort of reluctantly hung my boots up, which wasn't an issue for anybody, and took up coaching the open age team as well, managing. So I was sort of doing both across a weekend, which was pretty challenging, managing on a Saturday and on a Sunday. But yeah, I've had a brilliant sort of time with the junior team, having been privileged to take them right throughout the age groups, and then they aged out and effectively become part of the open age team. So yeah, really proud of that, to be honest.
So you've seen their development and their journey a long way through there, and seeing what they're doing today. Yeah.
Still, there's probably half a dozen of those lads that were started off with myself and the other guys that under 9s, under 10s are still playing with us, which is hopefully a testament to that we're not complete idiots. But
well, no. But as well, they think about the club, and there's some commitment in there from those lads, and I'm sure they could have had opportunities to go elsewhere, not because other clubs are better or necessarily, but mates and family and all that, but they want to stay at Newton, and that must be really, really good for you. That must be amazing for you to witness and be part of.
I honestly can't be prouder of sort of, I know it's a bit boring and it's not necessarily as well, it isn't as good as trophies and league wins and all that, but the player retention we've had over the past several years has been ridiculous. I'd be very surprised if there's many other clubs sort of in and around the area that have had the sort of the player retention that we've been lucky to have over the past decade, really.
And that's something you can't advertise or buy, can you? It's one of those. It's culture, and it has to come from people within the club, like yourself, Andy, like yourself, Dan, and I'm sure many others that build that.
I think just about that culture point up. I mean, the way that Mr. Farell here runs that open age setup, it's very easy to fall into a trap of first team, reserve team, right? It's one squad, right? So there are people who will get fair chance of progressing. And, you know, I use the term help out very loosely in the fact that Dan takes the training on a Wednesday. Dan gets all the grief about where they want to play and et cetera, et cetera. I get given a match day squad as the reserve team coach with Ant. And, you know, we do our best with that. But actually, from our point of view, it's really pleasing to see some of the lads that started out in the reserves have actually become an established first team regulars. And that's testament to you and how you manage that group in the fact that, you know, when you asking for availability, you want availability for the first and the seconds. You're not allowed to just vote for one unless there's a genuine reason. So that there is no divide in that squad. And I think that harmony is wonderful to see. I think it's in a really good place at the moment.
That's good to hear. And for those that may be coming through that reserve squad, looking up at others and going, well, yeah, they do get a chance. It's real that we can see the players there today. That must be inspiring for those as well. And
you know, by the same token, in the area of balance, there's never a problem when, you know, in inverted commas, someone drops to the first team because it's not deemed as that. It's a case of, this is our availability. You know, some people might need more minutes or you're coming back from an injury or just the fact that the competition for places is so fierce that get your chance, take it, and let's have a conversation, right? So it's that good competition is breeding, I guess, the success off the pitch is breeding success on the pitch.
Well, the success on the pitch has started amazing this season. So, Dan, could you just tell us a bit, before we get to this season, how's pre-season been?
It was pretty much like every other pre-season in so much as it's bloody hard work, pardon the French. And that's not just for us, that's for every other team in terms of holidays, rightly so, and player availability and sort of opposition availability and even facility availability. If I could have £1 for every message we get saying, are you available for a friendly in pre-season, can we use your pitch, I'd be a very, very rich man. But again, it's the same for every club. It's not just us. We sort of I've never been one of those sort of types of managers who insists on having 6, 7, 8 games in pre-season, because inevitably come November and the lads are goosed and they'll sort of go, well, that's because you flogged us in summer. So we sort of try and focus on getting 3, 4, max 5 friendlies for each of the teams. But yeah, it was hard work with teams pulling out at last minute, and again, it sort of works both ways. Of course, we didn't necessarily have availability for 2 squads every Saturday, and I think we played 5, 6 games, a couple of wins, 1 draw, a couple of losses, but it's fine. I'd never ever read too much into pre-season. I've done that in the past where we've won every game, thought we was the best team in the world, start the league and we get beat. Or on the flip side, we sort of lose every game and think this is going to be an absolute disaster, and then it goes well. So yeah, pre-season was pre-season. It was struggle with availability and stop-start training, but yeah, we're blessed in the fact that we can sort of draft in a couple of guys to help us run a couple of fitness sessions, which I think that the lads really, really appreciate, and certainly, well, it appears so given the the attendance, and I think that's a real boost and a real something that the struggling for words, but something that's really helpful in pre-season.
And it's hard, isn't it? Because to ask players to do their own thing is one thing, and I'm sure they do, but if you're not professional, the discipline may not be there. And it's the same for everybody. So to put that on and to, get their lads fit and make sure that they're doing something, that they would appreciate that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't dictate what they do outside of the hour we have them on a Wednesday and a couple of hours on a Saturday, but we always just try and say, just behave yourself, try and keep yourself into a decent level of fitness. Otherwise, fundamentally it's those individuals that might actually, be impacted really if they don't necessarily keep up with the rest of the group. But no, yeah, we're looking so much as that we've got quite a fit bunch of lads, and yeah, quite a level playing field in that respect.
Good. And would you say you're fit for purpose for the season? So you started the season amazingly well. Pre-season, you've had the same challenges as anybody else, but the start of the season, you'd say we're firing on all cylinders. Would you say you're right for the rest of the season at this stage?
I'd like to think so. If there's one thing I will take away from sort of grassroots managing is that you never know what's around the corner. I think in terms of the overall squad, as Andy touched on, we don't have a first and a seconds. We have a sort of an overall collective group. It's the best probably group of players we've ever had, and that's hopefully showing in terms of results we've had so far. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves just yet because we're only into September. But yeah, I think it touch wood, barring any major injuries or anything like that, we should hopefully have a decent season to look forward to.
Good. And did you set out any specific goals or anything before the season started? Some people say, I want to finish in a certain position, or have you just left it and see where you get to?
No, I think, again, that's something I used to do. And then if it doesn't happen, you feel as though you've got a bit of egg on your face. So I know it sounds a bit cliche and a bit boring, but we just say as long as we can progress every year, we'll be happy. If we can be what we did last year, if that turns into anything more tangible, then great. But yeah, listen, I would be naive to say we wouldn't like to be promoted or have a good cup run, and that's for both teams. But let's see how it goes.
Good. It's nice to have that level-headed approach, especially after that amazing start to the season. But are there any fixtures this season you're really looking forward to? Anyone you're really looking forward to playing?
With respect to the rest of our sort of opposition teams, not necessarily. I think what is good is being able to go to the sort of. We're lucky with these leagues in so much as that a lot of these teams have great facilities. Some of them have mini stadiums, for want of a better phrase. So some of the new teams that have joined us this year, I think it'd be really a really good experience to go to their sort of their place and their ground. But yeah, we've again, with respect, we've sort of tended to play a number of teams. Sort of number of the same teams over the past 4-5 years, so it's always nice to go somewhere a bit different, play new teams, and experience new players, and yeah, that's no individual team stands out, but yeah.
Bro. And talking to you, Andy, I know there's a number of new things you want to bring to I'll bring into the club this year. Sorry, not want to. It's happening, right? Yeah. Pathways and this maybe and other things. How excited are you for this season for the club?
Yeah, I really am, because it's dangerous when I get time to think, because that usually means work for somebody else. So I have these ideas. And, out of 100 ideas, 99 of them might be rubbish, but there might be one little gem in there. The first thing to say is that us as a football club, we have got 15 trustees that sit on the board, which is the max that you can have constitutionally. And we went through a bit of an exercise in the off-season to look at the roles and responsibilities. We'd onboarded 3 new trustees in Amy, Lee and Chris, who bring loads and loads of different skills and qualities. And it gave us a real opportunity to just audit what we've done, because we've been doing it for so long with an established bunch of trustees that you naturally just fall into the trap of, well, I can do that. Oh, yeah, do you know what? I'll do that. And so we mapped out our roles and responsibilities. And what we found was that I was the busiest fool in the football club, and probably didn't need a matrix for anyone to come to that conclusion. But a kind of a legacy thing of what I was doing before being chairman, and then just saying, hey, we could do this, but put your money where your mouth is. So let's do it. I'll do it. And what we've done is we've kind of shared the roles and responsibilities, and it's not a workload thing. It's more about getting the right person for the right job, because they can do it better. And social media is a fantastic example of this. So yes, this podcast is really exciting because, do you know what? I wouldn't know where to start. You know what you're doing, right? So I'm here and I'm happy to be, well, okay, within reason. Better than anyone else at the football club anyway, Rob. Don't be so modest. But there is a changing world out there. And I mentioned about social media. So I started social media 12 years ago when I came onto the committee. We started with Facebook because that was the only one that was around, and we kind of advertised, and we've grown the page to 4,000 followers. But I've kind of felt like, when I've kind of sat back and reflected, we're still doing the same things more often than not than we were 12 years ago. Well, we weren't very Instagram savvy. We weren't using Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it these days, to best effect. We talked about doing TikTok and YouTube and VO highlights for the seniors on our YouTube channel. And all of a sudden, this media team has kind of assembled, and I've had to take a little bit of a step back for the progression of the football club. And it's in its infancy, but I can already see a difference, and I can see our members engaging in different ways, and I can see more followers on Instagram and more interactions on Twitter. So that's really, really exciting. But that aside, we are a football club, so let's talk a little bit about football. So if we look at our kind of offering to the community, and we are a community-based football club. We've got ambitions of advancing up the football pyramid, but we know our place. So if we talk about our junior section, under 7s to under 18s, we've got our 2 men's teams, first and reserves, and we've got our ladies' first team, and effectively an under 18s girls team, which will either integrate into ladies or form a second team within their own right in due course. But it's what you do around that, because that is kind of how it's always been within the football circle. So we introduced the academy. So the academy is for boys and girls that are in preschool, reception, year 1. Really, we're trying to grow all over the game. They're so young. There's no seriousness to it. But it's been fundamentally the growth of the football club, because we're producing 3 teams each year. We then introduced Wildcats, because whilst boys and girls are welcome to attend with us on a Sunday, there are some girls who would feel more comfortable in an environment with just girls, and that's absolutely fine. And actually, we encourage them to do both, so they get double football. So Wildcats runs on a Friday, and that's for primary school children. Outside of that, we then thought, well, what if you come to a football club, or what if you like football just a little bit later on? And what do? Well, you go to a team, and it might be really established, and that might be daunting. Why don't we do an older version of the academy? So for kids that are in primary school that have found football a little bit later than under 7s when you start playing games. So Football Fundamentals was born. So we're ticking that box. That's great. Then Squad Girls is for 12 to 14-year-old girls. Again, riding on the crest of what the Lionesses have been doing, people finding football that little bit later. We introduced that programme with the FA. That's fantastic. And the reason where I'm getting to is we looked at our offering and thought, we're doing loads and loads of good things, and we want to be football for all where we can. And we as a board of trustees looked at some gaps of where we're not hitting a demographic. So what we've introduced this year, a few things. Firstly, we've got a Just Play session. Now, this is an older version of fundamentals. So this is for high school kids that perhaps are not in teams and don't want to be in football teams, but actually just want an organised kickabout, 5-a-side in a safe environment with one of our coaches, turn up and play. It's pay as you play, no problem whatsoever, right? No obligation to go into a team, just turn up and have fun. We've also introduced walking football, right? And walking football is even too fast for me, so I'm not gonna play, right? But it's for people who are of not necessarily an age, right? Because we've said 35 plus. Because if they're any good, I'm going to refer them to Ian and Dan if they can do a job on a Saturday or a Sunday, if there's space. But it's for players who or ex-players that have still got a love for the game, but don't want that kind of combative, competitive game of football, right? Semi-competitive game of football. And we're doing that for men and women because it's really, really important that and there's been loads of interest to that so far, so I'm excited to see that. And then the final thing that we've introduced is specifically for our reception and year one boys and girls, because next year the game is changing, and the FA have been really clear about this. At the minute, under sevens football starts with 5v5, but they're introducing that to be 3v3. And the idea is that more touches of the ball, more kind of decisions to be made, a faster game, and it will eventually then transition from 3v3 into 5v5, 7v7, 9v9 until the traditional game kind of hits us at a later level. So in order to kind of prepare us for that, we've again introduced a scheme called Just Play, and it's 3v3. Right, and there is no training drills, no exercises. We've got mini nets. We'll have loads of pitches. You turn up, you pay your money. You just play 3v3 for an hour. You go home very tired, right? But it's just preparing for that kind of next level. So we kind of identified those areas as that they're missing from our offering to the community, and I'm really, really pleased that we'll be launching them all in October.
Mate, I've got to be honest. If you was in a business setting now and they say, what's your strategy for next year? What are you going to focus on? You just nailed a load of elements to bring into the club, but also the sustainability. Yeah. So you're talking about those younger levels and getting up to the teams that Dan and the ladies that are playing at now. Yeah. That's great for the club, you know, and any member of the club, or trustee or whatever, must sit there and go, it's in good hands.
It seems to be, and when we say hands, let's be really clear about it. I'm the brain-ish. No, sorry, let me retract that. I have an idea, and the people around me really help me to execute it. Otherwise, I just come out with loads of ideas and nothing happens. So the Board of Trustees fully behind that. We've got a development plan that we laid out with the FA as part of our 3-star accreditation application, and we're executing it. So that plan isn't dormant. It's not just sitting there gathering dust. We've looked at it and we've kind of made provisions for these. So I think the next phase for me is, I feel like structurally we've got the correct platform so that if someone from the Newton le Willows community or surrounding area says, I want to play football, where can I go? I think we do it all, right? But so with that in mind, that's great. Now it's about, right, you're part of this club now. How do we get you integrated into the seniors, right? And when I say integrated to the seniors, I'm not saying that you need to run under sevens, like training sessions or anything like that. What I'm saying is I want those under sevens to say, can I go and watch Newton at the weekend? And, you know, when I'm older, I want to be like Flynn Bickerstaff. I mean, that's your brother, right? Has anyone ever said those words?
Never.
Can we cut that bit out, Rob? Because he'll get a big edit.
Absolutely not. No, this is raw edited.
But we're trying to create a role model, right? So under sevens, they're really clear. Our senior men's play on a Saturday. Our senior ladies play on a Sunday. You're going to turn up. It's going to be a nice atmosphere. It's going to be good quality football. And effectively, when they go to play their game next week, they'll learn something. And the coach might learn something and go, oh, that was really good, actually. And that's true integration then. That's not having a junior section and a senior section working in kind of different, going on different journeys.
Absolutely. And you're saying about the YouTube channel and, you know, we can see highlights of the seniors games and, you know, kids nowadays, they do sit at home. They're on devices. It's part, whether we agree or disagree, it's part of the world. And if they're watching those highlights, that's got to be great.
Do you know what was really pleasing about that is, so kudos to Mr. Aaron Potter, who's our goalkeeper. He's done an amazing job with the VO. He's adapted so well to it, and with his very limited time, you know, he's kept it alive, and he's done an amazing job. And we invited Aaron to come to our kind of new media team meeting, if you remember.
Yeah.
Because I very much want Aaron from the men's and I want Lauren from the ladies to very much feel a part of it, because we are putting a focus towards the seniors for all of those reasons that I've just mentioned. But in relation to the VO, one of the most pleasing things was that 3 under-13s players have offered their services to help and edit the VO so that Aaron and Lauren can then load it on their platforms, the open age kind of Instagrams and X, and we might have commentary and it's just
TikTokers, is it?
It's TikTok. It could be on TikTok. It could be those TikTok. Yeah, that's it. Right. So again, do they know what they're doing? Absolutely. This is their world, right? If you ask me, I'm older than you, so if you ask me, I'm not going to drag you down with me. But if you ask me to do that, I wouldn't have a clue.
No chance.
So how great is it that 3 of our under 13s boys from our under 13s Rangers want to get involved in our seniors but for the men's and the women's to edit that each week and upload it to the YouTube channel. I just think that's brilliant.
Well, we talk about sustainability. You've got not just playing, you've got people that want to support the club and do more. And I suppose earlier I said the club's in good hands. It's healthy. It's stable and healthy. But it goes wider than that, doesn't it? So there's a number of sponsors associated with the club in and around Newton, and some really well-established companies as well, businesses, and ones that, well, as people in the community, we like to go to. And that can only be great for them as well, doing podcasts, doing TikToks, doing whatever, because no doubt they'll get shout out.
We can't do it without them. And whenever we bring on board a sponsor, I actually don't use that term. I say partner, because ultimately there's got to be a reciprocal kind of relationship. I mean, it was mine and my wife's anniversary recently. So where do you go? Well, I went to Pantry. Yeah. Right. And Pantry does beautiful food, right? First and foremost. 100%. But I walked in there and there was the Newton shirt there, and Toff, said, "Oh, you know what? You were when we opened." We wanted to get engagement with the community. We had a conversation, and we sponsored you first and foremost because we wanted to play our part in the community. And it really took me back, actually, because what my objective selfishly is, well, we need a kit sponsor, right? We've got a team that's in need, so that's great. But he was looking at it through a different lens and going, without the community, we've got nothing. And that's why I'm really keen to work better with our partners. And you look out. I'm looking outside here at Newton Sports, and we've got probably 80 partners that we regularly engage with. Probably could do a little bit more with, and thankfully Craig is doing a little bit more now. He's taking over the social media side of things. You've probably seen recently that he's given a shout out to sponsors, and that's brilliant. And we launched a new kit range after probably 10 years. We had the plain navy and green and yellow, and the excitement and the buzz about this new design, and how we're so overwhelmed with sponsors that want to get involved and become partners and friends of the football club. We genuinely can't do without it, because our subscription model, if we were to buy a kit for every one of our children, and there are some clubs that do this, right? Some clubs will charge upwards of £30-35. That's everything. You might get a drill top, you might get your playing kit, etc. But we don't want to price anybody out of football. So our model is £22. But it's with the caveat that you will go and find a sponsor, and the kits range from £500 for maybe an under-7 squad of 8 to 10 to our open age, which is probably upwards of £800 and everything in between. So the sponsors, the partners, just allow us to kind of fulfil one of our objectives, which is nobody should be priced out of football, and without them, we would have to ultimately raise our subs.
That's amazing. It evidently works, and it works for everybody. And we were saying about the men's, they started really, really well. And I can't imagine that, without those partners, that you won't be in a position you are today, Dan. And, you've got a lot of players to pick from every week, but a lot of players to organise, and a lot of kits to hand out, and a lot of drill tops. And it must be... You guys work hard, right, as manager. Let's make it real. And there's a lot of organisation that goes on behind the scenes, and there's so many people who won't do it for that. Okay, but it must be nice to know that the club have got your back, and you don't have to worry about that side of it. You can just focus on the players and everything that comes with the admin of the match day and all that, and let somebody else worry about it.
Oh yeah. Listen, it's not often I give too much credit to the man on my right here, but he pretty much single-handedly went out and sought 2 sponsors for 2 new kits for the open age teams this summer, which is a massive boost. It might sound a bit daft, but when you're stepping out in that first game with a brand new kit on, looks the bee's knees. It does make you feel better. It does make you play better. So, kudos to Andy in that respect. But it as you say, it allows us just to focus on sort of the football side of things, whereas the sponsorships and everything like that is not something we necessarily get involved in day to day, but knowing full well that it's being covered by the guys behind the scenes, shall we say.
It's quite funny in pre-season, Rob, actually, because he set me a bit of a challenge, and sales is my background, right? So, a challenge accepted. And I think within 24 hours, I contacted a few local establishments and said we've got a great relationship with Panchy, and then E-Hands, also a fantastic curry house on the high street, were great and sponsored us. We've got home and away there. And I remember ringing Dan and saying, I've got some good news and some bad news, right? Bearing in mind this is pre-season. So the good news is I've got us 2 sponsors. It's like, right, what's the bad news? Well, all that work you've done in pre-season, we've got to have 2 socials and it's on a curry night, right? So let's not do it both in September. Let's space it out. But immediately as part of that kind of sponsorship deal, and Dan may or may not talk about the kind of the social element, which I think is really, really important to what we're trying to achieve. But we said to the guys, look, thank you for investing in us. What we would like to do is one of our socials, we'd like to have a night out with you. We'll all have some lovely food. It's just kind of our way of putting something back in the pot. And for both of those sponsors, well, we ordered an extra shirt and we're going to frame it and we're just going to have pride of place there. So it's very much, we don't want it to be a thanks for the money and, we'll see you again in 2 years when we need a new kit. We're trying to work with these people because it's really important. And yeah, the socials, I think we've had a few good socials, haven't we? To be fair, we can't talk about it. Is it PG?
I'm not sure this is the forum to talk about socials.
I think we'll just skip past that.
We'll just say we went out for a curry and nothing else happened. Yeah,
there. But it must be nice for both those as well, because they're local establishments. So people like seeing those curry houses full makes you think it must be a good place, and it's word of mouth. And the players say, "Look, we had a great night," and you don't get in any trouble when you go to these places either, allegedly. But it feels, for someone that's new to being in and around the club, so really, really new, it feels really vibrant. There's a lot of energy about the place, and you can see what's happening in the future, but the sustainability at the other end is coming through as well. So you wrap that up in a package. I'm sure there'll be a load of clubs in the local area look at Newton and go, but you're the envy, or we're the envy of a lot of other clubs.
Do you know what? As the years have gone on, I mean, I was forever stalking different clubs just to see what was going on, like what am I missing, and I've really changed that recently, because I thought, well, how much energy am I wasting on looking at what everybody else is doing? Why not focus on what we can do, right? We've got a plan. We've got great people here. Where do we want to get to? How do we do it? And it doesn't happen overnight, right? So the men's have had a great start to the season, but I actually think that it's been probably a couple of years in the making, in terms of naturally where you finished in that kind of Cheshire League and continuous improvement, and kind of laid a real good platform to go and have a crack at this. It's not like we've just come into the league and we think with this and we think with that, and we start it's been a gradual kind of like journey. And the same for the ladies. They entered the Liverpool League a few years back, and they established themselves first and foremost. Then they ended up getting promoted. Then we changed to the Cheshire League. They actually won that league. They've gone up to a really good standard of club, and are acquitting themselves really well as well. So again, we'll talk about pathways and we'll talk about platform, but we don't want to just get there quickly in the wrong way. Mm-hmm. I believe that we've got the junior players at our football club to come through the system and effectively add to the quality. I mean, we've spoke, haven't we, about the thing that we would like to get for both the men's and the women's is an under-21s team. So just kind of bridge that gap between under-18s, straight into the first team or that environment. And, we've got a lot of junior teams coming through. So it's just kind of that natural bridge of, you've got half a foot in junior football and you've got half a foot in senior football. And there may be opportunities to kind of come into that fold or do training or whatever. So I think in the next few years, that's our natural kind of progression, really. That's my thoughts anyway.
No, that sounds good. And it gives people an opportunity to aspire to something else and maybe give that extra little bit of effort or, go and talk to some of the players that are in the first team and say, what do I need to do? What advice? So, no, all good stuff. Right. We've done a lot of serious stuff, right? And that's good. Look, we could go on for days, I'm sure. There's lots of history here. There's lots to focus on, but we need a bit of fun. Okay. All good clubs have a bit of fun.
Okay.
So here's your opportunity to absolutely rinse some of your players. All right. Now, this really does depend on how much you want to upset them or how much of a giggle you want.
Don't worry about that. He's happy to upset anyone.
So, just a few throw out their questions. Don't think too hard on it, Dan. And Andy, you can jump in if you want, but I want you to go with the first thoughts, okay? And let's see how much crap you get on your text once this goes out. But who takes the longest getting ready before a match?
As in, well, obviously, I'm not privy to how long they take it home, but I would suspect if that is the question, then almost certainly it's Owen, Flynn, and Ricky. Maybe Becco looking at in the mirror, wondering why his arms are the smallest in the squad. But if it's in the changing rooms, physically getting the kit on and everything, I think I could give Charlie Eden 3 hours to get ready. And even when I'm saying, look, we're getting out now, lads, he'll still be putting his socks and shin pads on. So, yeah.
That just flowed off the tongue easy.
There's a lot of candidates there.
There's only 2 players.
Easy pickings, obviously.
Easy pickings, no worries. Okay, so which player do you think would make the best manager one day?
To be fair, there's a few of the lads have already sort of experienced that in so much as sort of junior coaching and indeed sort of on a Sunday. So we've had, I think Matty Hart's done it with his lads. I think obviously Ben Crowe, Joe Charleston has helped the seconds out in parts this year. I know Kane's got, I think, a young daughter. I'm not sure if he's involved in junior coaching there. Percy's an amazing coach, whether he'd want to be a manager. Probably one of those guys. There might be a handful of the others shouting at me now, but probably one of those chaps.
Can I throw a curveball in there? Flynn likes to use ChatGPT after the game for manager comments, doesn't he?
Yeah, but Flynn is brain dead, so he can't be able to manage a team day by day. So
no, we've got to embrace technology.
He's already had too much airtime, so let's.
I tell you, when this goes out, your WhatsApp's just going to fly up. Okay, interesting for both of you in this one. If the club had a mascot and an animal, right, not a usual one, what would it be? And who are you putting in it?
A person.
So, no, what animal would the club have?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then who's going to put the costume on? Who are you going to chuck in it?
Well, I would say on our badge we've got a ram, and I've thought about getting Ronnie the Ram.
Okay.
At some point.
Ronnie?
Ronnie yeah. Or Rob, maybe. Maybe we could put you in it.
And you'd have to be a big bloody ram. That's a big old ram, isn't it, man?
The ram is part of Newton le Willows in terms of its identity, so I think it would be fitting. Who we put in there? John Barron?
Johnny would do it.
Bobby Crow?
Both of them.
My dad?
Yeah, 1,000,000% Barry would, yeah.
Barry would be up for it. Yeah, there's a few candidates, yeah.
It's typically, generally, and I'm going to actually stick to you boys, aren't I? It's one of those people you just want to get away from, the hive. You just
definitely put my dad in that bracket. Yeah.
You want to be part of the club, but just go over there and do something.
For me, they're absolute diamonds, the 3 of them. And the one of those were, if you gave them a job, they would nail it, they would execute it. They'd be really... I'm not saying anyone's going to be honoured to dress up as a ram, but what I'm saying is, if you said to them, "Would you help out those 3?" without even thinking about the answer. They would just be an instant yes. And that's
Okay, so we've got to get the RAM on.
We've got to get the RAM. Yeah, I'm going to go on Amazon later to see if there's a 6-foot RAM possibly. The wife's going to be worried about what my search history is on Amazon.
Well, she did tell you got to take the chairman's role.
This is it, yeah.
Is that just to get the remote control over it?
It's basically for peace and quiet. Yeah. I think I annoy the living daylights out of this. So, yeah.
All right, last one. Who has the worst music taste in the dressing room?
How long have you got? I mean, I obviously I'm a bit of an old boy now, so I'm not necessarily the forefront of modern music, but some of the stuff the lads put on is absolutely honking. Any of them, just have a look at the squad list and pick a name, and their music taste will be horrific.
Really?
What I do want to say is, though, with these, as a slight tangent to this, there's a couple of lads that obviously we have a nominated DJ before every game, and some of the lads have sort of, there's been a song on and then it's let slip that it's been an advert, so it's those cheapskate you-know-whats.
Don't have Spotify Premium.
We've got Spotify free who could name it, but I'm not going to do, so we'll put them instead of bad music taste, if that's all right.
I've got one for this as well, Rob. So we had a bit of a social, which, you know, we won't go into the sordid details, but involved Hey Not Racism, quite a few beers. Now, at presentation, it's kind of come a little bit of a thing with karaoke. So I'm not going to say he's got an awful taste in music, but Ethan Appleby's version of American Pie will live longer than memory. He actually got booed off. I mean, let's bear in mind, none of us are oil paintings or great at singing, but that was a particularly travesty, wasn't it, really?
That was shocking.
Has anyone got any good taste in music?
As I say, it might be me who has the bad taste, and all those boys have got the good taste. But honestly, some of the stuff is shocking.
Yeah.
The one good thing, we all like Hey Jude, don't we?
We do, yeah.
That's
It's the Armin van Buuren, Tiesto, scooter stuff they put on before.
We just want ABBA.
That I can't get into. But again, that's probably more of a reflection of me than anything else.
Yeah. Fair play. Listen, we want to bring some light and entertainment and a bit of fun to the podcast as well as everything. And, you know, your WhatsApp groups are going to blow up on that. But we will give those players an opportunity to get yours back at some point on there. So, you know, that's what goes around comes around. It's got to be fair, right?
It's going to be a busy podcast if you're getting all the people we've named in your next one.
Well, yeah, I might be inundated here. But what if someone wants a fan, a player, a coach? What if they want to come on? How are they going to contact us, Andy?
I think the easiest way of doing it is through social media first and foremost. I mean, look, every whoever's listening to this, whether it's, you know, open age, under sevens, all of those different pathways that I've mentioned, you know, the disability football that we've got on a Wednesday. I think what we're trying to say is that anyone is welcome to come on here, and we want to hear from you. The last thing people want is to hear from me once a month. I mean, they get a managers meeting or, you know, a comms out from me. So, you know, it would be great to have other people on here. So either get in touch with your coach or your lead, or if you would like to come directly to the football club, use Instagram, use Twitter, use Facebook. It'll come through to us, and we'll absolutely book them in.
Brilliant. And go on there.
I just want to put a challenge out there, actually, because I'm not sure any of my lads would be willing to take this on. So if there's any of the lads that are actually listening, have got to the end of this and listened to it all, if they want to come on this, I'll pay for their night presentation. How about that for a deal?
I'll tell you what, that's fair play.
Yeah, and that includes Anto and I was going to say Brownie then, but I'm not sure I've got enough money in the bank to satisfy his Budweiser.
I was going to say they won't have enough in stock on a Monday night, will they?
But there you go, just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
that's great. I think we should make this a feature, a challenge. So whoever the guests are, someone's got to throw a challenge out, and then if that person backs down, they get called out on the podcast. Is that fair?
100%.
Brilliant.
Well, Bazza and Lou will just fine them, so they might as well come on. They've got you get fined for everything. So if you're late by a minute, right? If you're not wearing your hat at the perfect angle, if you wear shorts and not try, so you know, 50p, £1, and it's built up to quite a pot, which is utilised fairly well, I would say.
It is, yeah.
It's a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's very much tongue in cheek, even though I would suggest otherwise at times. But it is very, very much tongue in cheek. But it does add a little bit of discipline to things. But all that money goes back into the socials, so it's a really good thing.
Amazing. Well, let's make sure that we get them called out, and then out them if they don't accept, and that's fair. That's got to be fair. I love that you've done the first one. Well, gents, look, is there any last mentions you want to shout out before we wrap up?
I think for me, I would just like to, again, for anyone that's made it to the end of this podcast and, you know, realised that I was on and just shut it off immediately. They might want to listen to you, to be fair, but the year enough for me. This has been a really, really busy off-season. So what people don't understand about the football club is that when the games stop, the hard work for the trustees starts. Like, we've got to start again. We've got to do affiliation. We've got to register 600 players. We've got to set the subs up. There's lots and lots of things to do. So to my board of trustees and relevant subcommittees, we wouldn't have been able to start this season without them. So there's a lot of people who know what they've done to effectively put Newton le Willows FC in such a really great space. So I would just like to say thank you to them. We're all here for a reason, because we love football and we, you know, good community-minded people. So to the coaches, to the admin staff, thank you for getting, you know, the boys and girls in the best shape that they can. Thank you to the senior managers who their season started a little bit earlier. But I suppose the unsung heroes are the ones that are off the field, who are effectively giving these coaches the platform to do what they do. So yeah, thank you.
Well said. And Dan, good luck for the rest of the season. We will be having you back on, despite your protests. And Forza Newton.
Forza Newton.
Cheers, Rob. Thank you.
If you enjoyed that episode, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button, like it, love it, share it. If you want to come onto the podcast, drop us a note on all the socials, or if you want to nominate someone coming on, that'd be amazing. We've got some amazing guests coming up again soon. Newton le Willows FC, Forza Newton.